From Garden of the Gods to Mesa Verde, join us as we explore the American West and the incredible wonders that make up its landscape. Welcome to Maroon Bells, the color capital of Colorado. Maroon Bells is located within the Elk Mountain Range outside of Aspen, Colorado, tucked away between White River and Gunnison National Forest. The bells have a welcoming quality about them. This may seem odd, considering we are starting our journey at an intimidating 9,500 feet. But once you feel grounded and begin to take it all in, you will feel intrigued, curious, and even exhilarated. This is how Bells welcomes its visitors in its own unique way. As the most photographed landscape in Colorado, we can only assume that the Bells' breathtaking views can be enjoyed on a year-round basis. With its geological wonders, dressed in trees, snow, mud, and grass, whatever it may be, it will never disappoint. But this is different. This is autumn at Maroon Bells, and there is only one way to experience it. We have to hike. From 9,500 feet to over 10,000 feet, we will uncover the beauty, the mystery, and the life of here and now. Perhaps the best way to start our journey is with a photograph. Throughout the history of Maroon Bells, many have attempted to capture its wonder, and many have been quite successful. Though there is only one person whose artistic vision directly impacted not only the location itself, but the entire region. Ansel Adams, gifted photographer and environmentalist, visited the Bells in late fall of 1951 while attending an artists' conference in Aspen. Adams, a 35-year veteran of his craft, knew that no amount of networking or intellectual conversation would satisfy him. Like all seasoned landscape photographers, what he really wanted was to explore the grounds and capture the perfect picture. He did exactly that. Adams' curiosity within the Aspen area gave the country its first full landscape photograph of both Maroon Peak and North Peak. This photograph would go on to become a symbol of not only the Aspen area, but a collection of locations in America's Western Mountain region known as the Unknown West. Ansel Adams' iconic photography, inspired by the Bells' unbelievable collage of natural structures and colors, spoke to other photographers and artists alike. So much so that in the early 1950s, hundreds of artists made their way to Colorado, Montana, Wyoming, and Utah to try to do what Adams did: capture complicated landscapes, ones that were often overlooked at the time. With so many creatives following in his footsteps, Ansel Adams would go on to establish a nationwide magazine called Aperture, which showcased thousands of never-before-seen Western landscapes. As Adams' publication traveled across the country, the Unknown West became just the opposite. The region as a whole saw an incredible jump in tourism and population throughout the 1950s. For example, the city of Aspen saw a 44% rise in population in just 10 years. As you can see, the fall season brings an unmistakable component to the area. Every September, the paths leading up to the snow-capped peaks are painted with breathtaking colors of yellow, orange, and red. The eclectic views offered by the autumn landscape has to do with the climate. The level of foliage and its timing is determined by many variables, the most notable being temperature, which impacts something called chlorophyll. Chlorophyll is a chemical found in plants, responsible for the green pigment that leaves present in the warmer months. Functionally, it helps collect sunlight in order to facilitate photosynthesis. As temperatures drop, the chemical begins to die and fade, revealing the leaves' true colors, the ones we associate with the autumn season. Year after year, every September, this place transforms. An annual celebration of the bells past, present, and future. But what about the past? Before Ansel Adams, before any visitor, how did Maroon Bells get here? To answer this question, we'll need to travel back in time, 80 million years to be exact. The initial mountain formation arose when two tectonic plates collided and formed the base layer of the Rocky Mountains. As for Maroon Bells, the towering mound of rocky foundation would go on to accumulate additional layers of mudstone. Over the next 50 million years, the bells grew taller, layer by layer. Eventually, the loose mudstone structures were altered due to erosion and weathering. The biggest change came when the last ice age introduced massive glaciers across the continent. The enormous rigid structures of ice effortlessly carved the mounds of rock into steep mountain formations. The biggest footprint that this period left behind can be found in the ruins of the glacier's aftermath. A perfect example of this is Maroon Lake. After the glacial activity, Maroon Lake was just an empty crater. Over time, it began to accumulate water, then additional sediment, and eventually, life. Throughout the years, this life would grow into an ecosystem unlike any other. Maroon Bells is known for housing a diverse collection of wildlife. Black bears, mule deer, and red foxes are some of the more notable animals within the forest. But the Bells are home to thousands of animal species, some of which consider the Maroon Bells to be a safe haven. Recognized as an endangered species, the red-tailed hawk is a living example of Maroon Bells' healing ecosystem. The very existence of the red-tailed hawk within the Maroon Bells area is a miracle. Thinly spread between various ecosystems across the continent, the species has struggled to consistently populate, except for those that call Maroon Bells home. With a constant climate and ample amount of resources from year to year, the red-tailed hawk has begun to thrive at the Bells. Native Americans have long walked this complicated terrain. In the late 1500s, the Ute tribe found a vibrant and generous home at Maroon Bells, a home base that offered them sufficient resources and suitable protection from extreme climate. The Utes found that the area produced a virtually unlimited amount of elk meat and yucca root, both essential for their long-tenured existence. Elk was hunted and the resulting meat was stored efficiently, while the yucca root was gathered and distributed as a natural medicine that regulated blood pressure. The Ute population successfully made Maroon Bells a home for over 300 years. Their existence within the Maroon Bells area was interrupted by settlers moving west around the mid-1800s. As travelers seeking wealth through the Colorado Gold Rush began to move west, Colorado experienced unusual and unorganized traffic. To solve this problem, developers created the Northern Colorado Trail, a path that provided suitable transportation between the area's remote mountain towns. With so many migrants looking to score riches from the gold rush, many foreseeing locals began to set up shops and capitalize on the influx of travelers. Businesses of all kinds, food halls, hotels, shovel shops, clothing shops, they had it all. As the erratic era of the gold rush came to an end, towns across the area had developed into fully functional communities with a collective purpose of much greater magnitude, beyond taking advantage of gold rush migrants. The town's main priority was to support the lives and careers of their residents. Well equipped to uphold functioning economies, cities like Aspen and Snowmass were able to welcome the Colorado mining boom, an era resulting from the gold rush that brought even more excitement to the community. With so many Aspen residents familiar with the practice of mining from their gold rush activities, the industry came about with quite a bit of ease. The jobs and resources that accompanied the mining boom would propel the area into economic prosperity for the next 75 years. We all know what happened next. In 1951, Ansel Adams contributed to the area's momentum through his artistic vision and helped form the modern history of the Aspen, Snowmass, and Maroon Bells region. Since then, Maroon Bells has attracted visitors by the masses. Whether it is the many resources it presents, the fruitful opportunities it yields, or the inexplicable beauty it conveys, people flock to Maroon Bells because they have to see it to believe it. I think that is what separates this place from all the others. Not its size, not its modern appeal, not even the fact that it is the most photographed landscape in Colorado. It is different because it has consistently made people want to explore. Maroon Bells moves people in every way possible.